Okay, Ryan Fritz from Maryland walks into the gym and says, "Hey, Dan, it's been 20 years." And I was like, "What?" So it's been 20 years?
Yeah, '05.
All right, I guess we'll start there. In 2005, I met you in Tempe, Arizona,
Right.
but we lived in Scottsdale in a what I would call like a real world, MTV Real World's house where all the interns lived together to go help train and pamper the professional athletes
Right.
at Athletes Performance. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I just went back last spring. We went to Grand Canyon, and so it's called Exos now.
Yeah.
And so I
How do
met
you
up
spell that?
EXOS.
Exos.
Exos, yeah.
All right. Is Verstegen involved?
Yeah. So they moved like north of Phoenix area, and I don't know. The gym seems so much smaller than when we were out there, but took a tour, and there's a guy that works there, Eric Dannenberg.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know that name.
Yeah.
He's still there.
Yeah. So he's
Was he interning when we were there, or was he working there?
he was interning. He was like doing a semester. I think he was like an undergrad, still working.
Good for him.
So he I think got away from it and came back to it, and I was like, dude, we're gonna be in the area. Went to a spring training game. So my wife grew up in Seattle. We went to a Mariners Diamondbacks game, and went and took a tour, and it was like just cool and weird, and new facility, but
So it looked different?
yeah. So I thought it was a lot like the other gym was like 50,000 square feet.
Yeah.
This was probably like maybe 20,000.
What'd they do with the other square footage?
It's just everything's like tight. I don't know. It was just
It was so
more efficient.
open when we were there.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
What were so maybe we should give the listeners like a background on like Exos was called Athletes Performance.
Yep.
And I still don't know how I got the internship. Maybe you know how you got yours, but like snuck in,
It was all
and
luck.
I thought it was such a good opportunity to do whatever they said, but be able to watch, observe, help train professional athletes,
Yeah.
combine athletes for the 2005 NFL draft, MLB in their offseason, PGA, professional soccer,
Mhm.
all these athletes under one roof. And the
Yes.
programming, I still look back, I still think the programming is legit. Like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I'm still using it to this day.
Yeah.
They teamed up. So I don't know if you remember, they were working on trying to, make internet workout software where you could kind of customize. So they partnered with a couple different companies over the years, and the company they're working with now is called Bridge Athletic. So I'm using that for programming, and it is sick. I love it. It's awesome. So what I've been doing is my general clientele that I work with, I'm kind of a strength and conditioning coach, personal trainer in the DC area. Most of my people are like 50 to 90. So it's all older adults.
That's a great market.
And yeah, like that area is just retired lawyers and retired government workers. And everybody's got money. They're super smart, and they want to stay fit and keep moving around.
They don't really have a choice if
Right.
they want to have a good life. The back end,
Yep.
you have to, right?
So
That's cool to hear.
yeah. So started out working with high school kids, college kids in the DC area. And then I kept getting more middle-aged, older age people. And everything's morphed into kind of injury prevention. How do you stay functioning, working on prehab, using exercise as a tool to kind of keep fit, keep doing things, and basically not break down. So it's been a cool journey.
Stay out of the nursing home.
That's right. And so with that, it's like, just learn a lot about physical therapy. So I got my chiropractic assistance license.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How long ago?
So this would have been probably 15 years ago.
Good for you.
So my wife was going to a chiropractor, and the guy loved me, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, you got to come work for me." And I'm like, I got my own business. Like, I don't really want to give up my own business.
Yeah.
So we kind of worked it out. Like, I could work with him a couple of days a week. He kind of did morning, evening shift. And so I put clients before, middle of the day, and after work, but learned a lot. And essentially, like, the takeaway was strength, is everything. And you can do traction and all that stuff to kind of get out of pain. But at the end of the day, the nervous system signaling to muscles, like muscles control everything with your bone and posture. And if you don't maintain or work on that, it doesn't matter, what you do as far as rehab, it's not going to improve or change. So that was a cool experience. Yeah.
That's crazy. I guess we'll get to what you're doing today. Like as far as full-time coach, is that what and do you have your own facility?
I'm leasing space.
Got space leased? Do you share the space with others?
Yeah. So, the guy that I lease it from, there's another trainer in there, and we basically kind of after COVID, we split. He works in the afternoon, evenings. I work in the mornings. So I work like 6 a.m. to 2 p.m. The other guy comes in at noon. And then I have a couple of people I train at their houses. And then I have a guy who had a stroke like 5-6 years ago. And I go to his house. He's in a wheelchair. And so that's been a game changer kind of career thought process. I go in there, I'm like, oh, we're going to do wall squats and all this stuff, thinking that like he's got like one side paralysis. And the dude's like in a bed, like can't move. He had a bilateral stroke.
No.
It's like, holy crap. And he was young. He was like 57.
That sucks, man.
And so that's been kind of an eye opener. Like, what do you want to do with your life? You don't know what's going to happen. Go do what you want to do.
So how long have you worked with him?
I think it's been like 6 or 7 years. It's been a while.
So what kind of breakthroughs have you had in those 6-7 years?
So when we first started out, I was just kind of doing isometrics and moving him around and doing things. And he's been in and out of physical therapy. And I hear the physical therapy woes of like, he's not making progress. So they just like release him. Then they have to wait like, 6 months or a year. And then he goes back and then gets released. He went to some cool place in Baltimore where they had like a lift that would take his body weight off, and like they'd try to walk around, they'd move him. And so we had some progress the first year or two, just very slowly, getting a little more movement, a little more strength, but it's kind of plateaued out. The doctor said, 5 years, if you get it back, it'll be 5 years. If nothing comes back, 5 years, like nothing's going to happen or change. So we're kind of in this maintenance-y, like, let's just do stuff, move, do some exercising just to have quality of life.
Definitely.
But full wheelchair, like, has to have people help him go to the bathroom, like can't drive, can't do his thing, not independent. So that's been an eye opener just personally, like, what do you do? So that's like, get to the mountains, hunt as much as you can, because I don't want to go through that. I don't want to deal with that. So it's been interesting.
It kind of breaks my heart, man, to hear that. Yeah, that's rough. I don't know if I would be like, part of me would say Alicia, take me to the back pasture and
he's
put me out of the misery.
Yeah, it's so sad. It's like, I guess at the beginning they put you on like antidepressants and, it's like, but you just lost everything in your life. Like you can't do anything. And so, I hope that I bring him joy and happiness.
I bet you do.
I mean, I've been there for years, so it's like, well, they're paying me a lot of money to come and hang out and kind of do some stuff. So it can't be all that horrible and not worth it. But, it's pretty wild.
That's heavy. I think a good takeaway for that just little segue would be like, okay, how could you not move your body and work out if you're perfectly like healthy in the fact that nothing's broken on you? It's just you got busy with life.
Mm-hmm.
We all do. And you just took your fitness and your body and your temple for granted.
Right.
And you slowly over time deteriorate / I don't know, you kind of squander the gift, really.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good message. So I just take that home today is like,
absolutely.
do not squander the gift. Go out there and do physical things because it does breed a better life. The more that you can move and groove. That's awesome. When you were at Athletes Performance, we had some characters there as far as other interns. I stayed in touch with Germano for several years following, and then I lost touch.
Same.
Which I suck. And I'd love to know how he's doing. Brian Germano, what up? If you somehow hearing this or saying what's up. But that was really the main dude that I really clicked with was him and you. And I don't really remember names or anyone else, but what a special time in my life because I was I needed this internship to finish my master's.
Okay.
And then I was wanted to be probably some sort of professional athlete coach,
Yep. That was me.
strength coach, NFL. And at the time in '05, I don't know if you knew this, I was still really, really into hunting, like big time into hunting. I had tasted elk hunting. I had killed a bull with a rifle. And in '05, I was working through the elk hunting learning curve. And I still hadn't killed a bull with my bow yet. I didn't know it would happen the following year after that internship. But I was pretty obsessed with bow hunting, elk. And I knew in the back of my mind, I was starting to figure out that like strength coaches at the NFL level are year round, and their only off season time has no, like, it's not really that time of year where you go elk hunting for
Right.
sure. And like you sure shit aren't going to be leaving the sidelines on Sundays to go elk hunting.
Yep.
It started to dawn on me that I needed to like maybe look at other career options.
Yep. I got a buddy who he was Army Ranger, went to West Point, got his knee blown off in Iraq. They basically played football at West Point. They hired him as like an assistant strength coach.
Okay.
And same thing. He's like, dude, it's football season. I can't go. I'm like, oh my gosh, man. Like it sucks. And then like he'll get like an evening where he can go out bear hunting or something. But it's like, I don't want that. Like I want to go out in the woods. Like it's super cool, prestigious job, a lot of fun, meeting lots of people, but it's restrictive. And it's like, that's why I got out of it. And it's like, you know, just the commitment. And it's like, okay, I want to have some freedom and do things. I'm sure you're the same way. It's like,
well, I knew to get to that level, you had to start at some college.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my undergrad strength coach at Eastern, God, I can't remember his name. I'd have to think about his name. He was legit, by the way. Like, you know, some strength coaches, this dude was, Lovat was his last name. Dude was legit. I bet he moved on to NFL. I think his dad might have been a strength coach. Anyways, he worked at Eastern from like 5 a.m. to probably 7 or 8 p.m., 5 days a week, year round.
Yep.
And he didn't get paid very well.
No.
And sure, he got to work out a little bit. But man, like it was a grind. And I just got to, as I, shadowed him for, I think an entire 2 quarters, I was like, this guy has got to be burnt out. Like there's no light in the tunnel.
Our strength coach was the same. He would open the gym up at like 5, 6 a.m., do his training things with different teams. And then he was like personal training in the middle of the day at the local gym.
Yeah.
And then he would like come back and he'd like, work in the evening, then go back to the gym. Then he closed the gym down at like 9 o'clock at night. It's like, dude, you must love your job. And he was not making anything.
Nothing.
And it's like, I don't want this. Like, this is crazy. Like, at least if you're getting the reaps of it, it's one thing. But to like, work your tail off and not get anything. And, I think that's a kind of a experienced credentialed job. It's, you don't just walk out and be like, yeah, I'm going to work with these like top end world class, Olympic athletes. Like you got to have some skill to do that. And I don't know, kind of.
It is like, sure, you have to have degrees and CSCSs and all those kind of little things, but that doesn't matter if you don't have any of the right experience.
Yep.
And you need to make connections
Yep.
along the way. Do you remember the coach that was mainly in charge of the football players, getting them ready for the combine, Luke Richardson?
Luke, yeah.
Did you follow his career after we left our internship?
Mm-mm.
I didn't either until recently, probably. Well, he ended up being at Denver.
Okay.
And then one of my buddies, Derek Wolf, who they won a Super Bowl. He's defensive end, I believe. No, was he? Yeah, I think he was a defensive end. Luke Richardson was his strength coach.
Cool.
So I know Richardson got a Super Bowl ring as a strength coach. I don't know what happened to him. I don't think he's still there. But that was like probably 10 years after our party at Athletes Performance. And I know that Luke, when he was at Athletes Performance and he had us interns, he was hard on us in a good way. And he was very inspiring. Like he was a player's coach, meaning like all those athletes really looked up to him, but he had a great relationship and connection with them. This is my observations, back then. So I was like, that's the way to do it. I really enjoyed looking up to him and watching his ability to get the best out of his athletes every session. Who stood out to you as a great coach when you were there?
So, I mean, I like the whole track thing. So Daryl Eto.
Yes.
He was a ex-Olympic track coach.
Yep.
For the U.S. Olympic sprinters. And I mean, the dude was just a machine. He was freaking first class and just knew everything perfect, but I always loved his progressions with athletes. So the company, so I worked for a big box gym in kind of the Virginia, Maryland, DC area.
Okay.
It was called Sport and Health. We actually are kind of sports training manager. We paid Exos to come, or Athletes Performance to come and give us, I think they called them mentorship programs.
Sweet.
So, like everybody put in like $1,000. So we had like, 20 grand that they flew a coach out. And
Who did you get?
I got to think about it.
You'll come back to you. Do you remember the exercise physiologist, Paul?
Yes. He was my hero.
Like a wizard.
So my company that I is called Science of Cardio.
Okay.
So when I got, in DC, I just geeked out. I was like, dude, I love this VO2 stuff.
Yeah.
So I kept in touch with Paul and I bought a VO2 analyzer from him. And he's
seriously?
Yeah. He's like, I'll give you a discounted one. I have a couple like demo models. Like, sweet. So I bought it and started using it. And I started getting like a ton of interest in it. And so
how does that thing work? Just we'll pick up there in a second, but how does that work?
The analyzer?
Yes.
So basically just put a face mask on and a heart rate monitor, and you do a protocol on the treadmill or whatever machine.
What machine did you usually use?
The treadmill.
Okay.
So just the treadmill is easy because it's like everything's set.
Mm-hmm.
You got your speed, your incline, like there's no deviations. You can do it on the bike. You can do it on like a row ergometer, but you got to keep the cadence going.
Do you have to test blood while they're on the tread? Like prick them at all?
No, you don't have to.
Are you able to, like, because VO2, volume of oxygen, that you not only can take in, but utilize would probably be the key word there. So what was your like metrics? What were you looking at for data?
So basically it was ventilation threshold. It's like where your body goes from anaerobic to aerobic or aerobic to anaerobic. So there's usually it's like 80 to 85% of someone's max heart rate.
Yeah.
So it's just a generic. But it was cool. I mean, I tested hundreds of people. I became like the VO2 director for Sport and Health, and I'd train other coaches to do it, and they would rent my machine, lease it, whatever. And so there was like 10 clubs that were using it all over the area. And then I'd get commission off of it. So that was cool. But I bought the machine. So ended up buying 2 of them.
Yep.
And it was like every Saturday, just go do like 8 or 10 VO2s. It was like making, $800,000 a weekend or a day, just
a day,
banging out VO2 tests. But it was, very technical, like really a lot to explain the physiology and the science of it. And so I was spending more time teaching people, education than I was the test part of it. So I got kind of burned out. I was like, if I can have other people run it and be like techs, that's cool. But they started to want to use it, and then like I would need it. And it's like, wait a minute, like this is my equipment. Like, this isn't cool. Like, you guys are making, like I was pulling in like 10 grand a month in revenue for this club. And, I bought this analyzer for like $3,500, and they're like, they're like mooching off of me. And I'm like,
can't you afford your own? Yeah.
So we had a falling out, got kind of ugly when I left. And there was this kid in college, he was doing his report with the VO2 stuff.
Yeah.
And I just bailed, and I felt so horrible. And this kid couldn't finish his like final graduation, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like, like this is my stuff. Like I'm doing it. So they ended up buying one. It's like, oh yeah.
Could have done that a while ago.
Yeah. Thanks. But live and learn.
I have made health clubs so much money in my early days. I got to become a personal trainer right out of high school.
Right.
I was a dork in high school. Like I was studying to take a personal trainer's test, like in high school. I was a dork who brought a cooler to high school. I kind of want to be a bodybuilder. I'd have like a gallon of water. I was a dork, but I spent so much time at the gym that when I graduated, I had to like study a little bit longer. So I think I got a job at like Costco stocking shelves while I was in college, but that only lasted a quarter. And then as soon as that Costco job kind of expired, I was like hired as a personal trainer, and I knew nothing. Like as far as I thought you just were given clients. Like yeah, okay, I'm certified trainer. Give me some clients. And they were like, no, you got to go get your clients.
Right.
Which then I learned like there's a lot of sales involved. And like, so I kind of figured, like, worked my way through that learning curve of sitting down for a free consultation, which was more or less aimed to get people to enroll in some sort of services. And some people declined and some people accepted. And then what you realize soon is like you'll get some clients and then like they're all in for life. Like as long as you're there, they're going to continue to renew. Like it's just, they'll never train that hard without you. They need the guidance and accountability, and the relationship it's a relationship business. So I used to charge whatever the gym said I had to, which I think it was a 24-hour fitness corporate box when I started. And even in 2001, I was charging $50 to $60 a session, but I was making $20 to $22 an hour, which wasn't bad, kids, in 2001. Right. That was pretty good money for a kid in college. And I realized that, and I'm really curious to see what you did. While I was in undergrad for 4 years, I worked my way up the chain to like becoming a very successful personal trainer, to eventually being like a weekend manager, to then being the manager of personal trainers, and then moving to bigger gyms and having more personal trainers under me. And then by the time I was just wrapping up, like probably my senior year, I was making, this was probably 2004, I was making $100,000 a year in 2004 at like age 21. But we were making the gym so much money because I had 12 personal trainers at most, like bringing in a living. And my job was mainly to hold them accountable to their quotas numbers, or whatever. And I look back at my experience, and all of that, Ryan, was to get me to be a strength and conditioning coach. Like I knew what my main objective was. It wasn't to stay a manager of health clubs. Right. I knew I didn't want to do that. And it wasn't until that internship where I met you, where like it really brought it all together, where you could see that this is a possibility to train elite level athletes, professional and amateur, collegiate, and even high school athletes. I would love to train as long as they were serious about a goal and they wanted to get there. What was your journey like? How did you work your way up to knowing what you wanted to do?
So, I mean, I knew I wanted to be in fitness like middle school. Sweet. So Dave Grove, he was my middle school gym teacher, and he was an assistant football coach at the high school. So he would, in the winter time, kind of the off season, he would go over to the high school and he'd kind of unlock the door and chaperone the middle school kids. And like, you know, they had, back then it was like 13. You had to be 13 to go work out because of growth plates and all that stuff. And so when I was 12, I was like, I want to do this. Like, I'm going to go. And so he kind of showed us the ropes. He's like, okay, well, you know, just stay with high reps. And I loved it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. And so he kind of mentored me over the years, and, you know, got to high school and it was like, I want to be in the gym every like semester, this or that. So I was able to get an override. They wouldn't let people work out in the strength room until they were sophomores. And so I was like, well, I want to do this. So, you know, literally every semester in high school in the weight room. And so my guidance counselor was like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I want to do something with fitness. Like, I love it. And like, you know, I wanted to take more fitness classes, and they're like, you can't do that. Like, you know, that you can't get paid and it's not a job. And I'm like, well, that's what I love to do. Yeah. So this is hilarious. Looking back, I wanted to be a like wildlife hunting cameraman or something to do with fitness. And so, you know, 30 years later, it's like, well, we're putting all that together, which is super cool.
I like that message. People need to know that, like, my kids are at a weird age, 9 and 11, where like I'll get some questions from them sometimes, and I'm trying to answer them a little bit different than my parents did. Not that, like, I think every parent's like that. Like, you want to take your parents' best practices and you want to leave their worst practices at the door, because these kids just, you have kids?
Nope.
Okay, these kids just emulate everything you do, good and bad. And my daughter is pretty high Q, and my son's pretty much just, he's cool, but he's not like super high IQ. He's not like bringing home 100% on every test. Right. You know, doesn't like to read for fun. Well, my daughter does. And my daughter's like, what college should I go to? What should I study? And I looked at both my kids and I'm like, guys, I don't know if you go to college or not anymore. They're like, what? I'm like, true story. Like, I don't know if you need to go to college. What you need to figure out is what is it that makes you tick? What are you passionate about?
Yeah.
Then we'll reverse engineer. If there is there a pathway for a trade or some sort of schooling
Yep.
or internship, or is it something you can just kind of learn as you go and grow? And I want to keep that message with my kids. Like, I do think my daughter will probably go to college, and I kind of hope she's a doctor. Honestly, like, she's just gifted. But my son, like, he kind of like, man, I think I like firefighting. I'm like, you came to visit me when I was a firefighter. Let's get you to the fire station. And so, like, I'm taking him to my buddy's a captain at a fire station. I want him to go in there and see what they really do and know. And I guess I'm not anti-college, but like,
Yeah, no, that's the best thing. My wife was a college professor at North Carolina State when she was working on her PhD.
Yeah.
She didn't get it. She got a second master's. But we try to influence young people. It's like, what are you passionate? Like, what do you love? And like, it doesn't matter whatever, you want to get into, like just whatever you love, like follow that thing because, why just do stuff to do stuff? Like, and so like I always say, you have awesome doctors, you have crappy physical therapists, you have really good strength coaches, you have so-so mechanics. Like you can be the best mechanic in the world and go work for Formula One, or, you can be awesome at whatever you do.
Yeah.
And as long as you're happy and making a living and enjoying life, it's all good. It doesn't matter. But there's such a push for like, oh, you gotta, like we ran into a neighbor, their daughter's like, I want to be a lawyer. It's like, well, I work with a lot of lawyers, and some of them that works for these big firms, they're just miserable.
yes,
I used to train a lady at like 8:00 on Friday night, and it was the only time she could work out in the week. It was horrible. She's like, I work like, 16-hour days, and Friday at 8:00 is the only time I really can like carve out time. Like, why? Like, what life is that?
What life is that?
Like crazy. But yeah,
She's trying to be a partner in the
Yep.
practice,
Yeah.
or something.
yeah. And it's like you kind of spend your whole life trying to work your way up the ladder.
Yeah.
It's like you're not enjoying the moment now, taking a breath and enjoying it. It's like, well, who it's like retirement. Like, well, you got to get through the 30 years or whatever till you get to retirement. Like, enjoy what you do. My wife's cousin, he just retired from, he was a pilot in the, I'm trying to think, it was a National Guard.
Yeah.
And so he did 4 tours of duty over in the sandbox, and he just retired. We went to his thing on Saturday in Boise, Idaho, his retirement party. And, it was just so cool, like listening to his journey. And like, he went to ROTC at Boise State and got into, boot camp and this stuff. And then he's like, oh, I want to be a pilot. Like, he was really into Star Wars. And so he just like, you keep getting better and growing. And, at 60, 70, 80, like you can still get better and grow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's like, just do what you like to do.
So how long have you been married?
We've been married 12 years. So we met, this is a crazy story. So I was training at the time, and my wife was training for a marathon in, I think it was like Ashton or Rexburg, Idaho. She was supposed to do it with her cousin. And so she was running. And so I got off early from work, and I was like, it was a nice day. I went for a bike ride. And so it was in the summertime, it was real hot. So I got on a bench, sat down in the shade, and I'm just chilling. I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm off, not working. And she runs by and smiles at me and kind of runs past.
Where was this at?
This is in Maryland,
Okay.
on a trail. Like they have these creeks that they don't build in. And so they kind of like urban, like rec areas.
Love it.
And so she runs by and kind of smiles, and I kind of look at her, and 5 minutes later she comes back, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, okay. And she's like, can I sit here? I'm like, sure, go ahead. She's like, I'm supposed to meet my roommate. She's getting off the metro, and like, just, we were supposed to meet here. Like, okay, cool. So, super friendly, happy, like, she grew up in Seattle, so she's not an East Coaster. Me on the other hand, I'm like, okay, this is a serial killer. Like, and so she invited me back for dinner. She's like, I got steaks on the grill. Like, if you want to come back. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, this is kind of weird. It's especially, if I was somewhere else in the country, I'd say, okay, no problem. But DC, people don't look at you. They don't talk to you.
Really?
Like everybody's angry faces.
I'm so agnostic to that. I've only spent time in I guess I've been to New York a few times but it was all like sports performance related, like going to clinics in New Jersey and trainings. So it was always like very limited time, but like New Jersey, New York, a little bit of Connecticut. That's it. Never been to DC. So like you have to tell, like I'm a Westie.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up in like farm country. Like I milked cows in college.
Okay.
And so, like you're driving by and everybody waves to everybody.
Yeah, yeah.
Like in DC, there's just everybody.
You don't do that.
No, it's just like you hop on the metro, you keep your head down. Like when you go in an elevator, like everybody just kind of.
Damn.
Yeah, like introvert. Like,
okay.
They'll go to the other side of the hallway when you walk by. It's different. Very weird.
So you're like second guessing this invitation from this lovely girl.
Yeah. I'm like, there's something to this.
She's trying
like,
to kill me.
She's gonna, she's got like some big dude's gonna hack me out. They're gonna rob me. I'm like, this is kind of crazy. But anyways, went over for steak. Had a good time. She is 7 years older than me.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was just like, oh, just a nice person, super cool.
Yeah.
So she's like, I'm training for this marathon. Like, you're a personal trainer. Like, will you train me?
Hook it up, brother.
And I'm like, I'll work out. Like, it's totally cool. So we ran off and on for like a month. And then she's like, all right, I'm going to Idaho. And she's like, and so she cooked me dinner every time. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
So, get to work out, get a free meal. So she went away to run her marathon. And she's like, if you want to return the culinary favor, like if you want to take me out to food or whatever, I'm like, okay, cool. So yeah, it was this weird thing. Cause I'm like, man, we're like so different in age. And I wasn't sure at first. And like, the more I got to know her, I'm like, this is a pretty cool chick. And so she used to race cars. She had a pilot's license. She wanted to be a professional or commercial pilot. Super smart. She's got 2 master's degree, one in meteorology, one in oceanography. She's like she's like a certified professional scuba diver. And just, a lot of interesting things. And so she's like, oh, you hunt. And so I was like nervous because you don't tell everybody that you're a hunter on the East Coast. Like,
correct.
People give you the looks. And I'm like, I don't tell my clients. A lot of them don't know that I hunt because I don't want them firing me. And so that's a challenge. It's like,
that's crazy though.
Yeah. I always joke. I said, like, I feel like I'm in the closet. Like I can't tell people who I really am, but I always go on these hiking trips in the springtime and in the fall. But, it's like, whatever, I'm just going to enjoy my thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. And
you don't have to share it with them.
No.
I'm in a similar boat, and I want you to keep going with this story. I just want to inject one thing.
Sure.
So the best thing I ever did for hunting is when it was probably about 2011 to 2019. That was about an 8-9 year run where I had the gym, and I just told my members,
this is the CrossFit.
this is the CrossFit gym. This is just one CrossFit gym. I had 2 at one point and failed. Right. So I just have one gym, all the members. And I'm not coaching all the classes, but I'm coaching a lot of them. And like I would get my coaches to take over my schedule for all of September.
Right.
And I would have to tell them, well, where's Dan? And he's like, he's bow hunting elk. Okay. So they kind of like figured out real quick that,
right.
But for that year, those years, that 9-year stretch, I would probably kill no less than 2 bulls a year. And I didn't have kids. So it's just me and Alicia. And so we would end up donating some of the meat to the members. And I would show up with like every year with a cooler.
That's awesome.
And this meat's like already packaged, labeled, clean. And I would have an army of non-hunters rushing to get this free organic grass-fed elk meat. And it made a connection to where like none of them hunted, but they respected that where the meat came from.
Nice.
And that's something that we all can do is like at least like that's where we can share why we hunt. If we can get that connection made with the meat and the resource and it's renewable and they start learning about how much your hunting license and tag goes back into making sure that these animals on landscape, because like Maryland, like we'll talk about in a second, but like it's not 1 deer tag a year. You know what I mean? Like
it's like unlimited.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Right. So good for you. But at some point you got to like come out of the closet a little bit. All right, guys, we're interrupting this podcast. Tell you about Canvas Cutter. This is an awesome bedroll system, especially for the DIY mobile elk hunter. I've spent plenty of nights next to my truck sleeping in my Canvas Cutter. It has an awesome memory foam that is super comfortable. You can also pitch it up like a tent if you want. Deploys in seconds, and a lot of times I'll be changing my elk hunting location in the middle of the night. I don't feel like setting up a tent. Throw out your Canvas Cutter, get an awesome night's sleep. It is water resistant and it's lightweight, and it's a no-brainer. You can take it with you on your hiking, camping, or if you're crashing at a buddy's place. It's just a nice, seamless bedroll system. Discount code ELKSHAPE will take 10% off. Let's talk about backcountry recharging battery banks. I use Dark Energy Poseidon. I can get quite a few charges on my cell phone. That's also what we use to recharge action cameras and DSLR cameras. We also use their solar to recharge our banks. I usually have 2 battery banks with me at all times in the backcountry. I never want to run out of juice, and I use my phone quite a bit, not for taking pictures or looking at Instagram. I use my mobile phone a ton when hunting elk, obviously looking at onX, running tracking, things of that nature. So can't have a dead battery in the backcountry. So Dark Energy, we have a discount code. It is ELKSHAPE. It'll take 10% off. They have solar options as well so that you can recharge your battery bank in the backcountry. I run 2 battery banks almost at all times, and I can get through several days hunting in the backcountry with those, and they're bulletproof, man. Like the way that they're built, you can keep water out of them, you can drop them, they'll still work. They can take a beating. Dark Energy, discount code ELKSHAPE, save you 10%. Hey guys, going to interrupt the pod to let you know about one of our awesome partners, Peaks Equipment out of Bozeman, Montana. Peaks makes an array of backcountry stuff for those DIYers. So the first thing I'd recommend is the Duo headlamp. They have a green and a red. Both of them produce a white light. Each light has 3 different settings. You can hold a button down to make sure that it doesn't turn on in your backpack. All USB-C rechargeable, and the battery lasts a long time. That's probably my favorite product from them. And they also have gaiters to keep your boots and your garments dry, especially in those spring bear hunting scenarios or when it's raining. Shelters, they have a whole host of tarps and teepees, sleeping bags, stoves. They continue to put out awesome backcountry products that are proven to help have a more successful experience in the backcountry. Head over to their website or check out elkshape.com. If you're on the Peaks website, enter the discount code ELKSHAPE to save yourself 10%. Peaks Equipment continuing to change and elevate the game in the backcountry. Back to the pod.
Yeah, it's tough because I'm in the political capital of the world.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to talk politics 8 hours a day.
Seriously?
And I'm like a closed book. I'm just like, la, 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 la.
I'm
like,
Switzerland.
Yeah. So, it's like, okay, change the conversation to something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny. It's like everybody kind of on the health side, they're like, oh yeah, organic this and that. It's like, it doesn't get any more organic than going up into the mountains out in a field and getting something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I call it God's grocery store. It's like, we don't have to refrigerate stuff. It's like you go get what you need when you need it, and then you just leave the rest when you need it, when you're out and need some more. And it's funny. It's like all the opinions and,
Who got you into hunting, man?
My dad.
Did he?
So yeah, grandfather. So my grandfather was a rifle range coach at Paris Island and Camp Lejeune during the war, World War II. He went to Okinawa, Guadalcanal. He got a piece of shrapnel on his neck. And so he was like, the Depression. He grew up in Pennsylvania, and he would hunt to go to school. He'd take his gun and shoot pheasants. So he was all into bird hunting. He used to shoot bumblebees with a .22.
Oh, get on his level.
Yeah. So he was a heck of a shot.
A marksman.
Yeah. So he was a rifle range coach for 8 months in the war before he got shipped out. And he had some stories, crazy stories of just stuff. So my grandfather didn't drink. And in college, my history teacher was like, you got to interview somebody that had some major life event. All right, we're going to grandpa. And so I asked him, and he was starting to get dementia, and like he was kind of in and out. But he goes, yeah, he's like, I was on Saipan. I got, a mortar went off and it pushed my jugular out. And I was basically healing on this hospital island. And he said they were watching a movie they'd cut down bamboo or coconut trees, I think it was. And they'd sit on them and they'd put up like a screen, a sheet. And he said, we were sitting there watching this movie and bullets start flying through the screen. And the Japanese soldiers would sit in the caves and they wouldn't know the island had switched teams, and they would come out, 3 months later and find these Americans like, oh my gosh. So he was like terrified of going. They were getting ready for the invasion of Japan. He was drinking like a fish, and he like blacked out, and his buddies woke him up on the middle of this island, and it scared the crap out of him. He's like, I'm never drinking again. Like, I'm going to die. Like, this is going to kill me. Like, this isn't worth it. So I never knew that. It's like, holy crap. But it was an interesting story. So my grandfather was a map maker. He was a hand cartographer for National Geographic. So he would literally look at topo maps and be like, this is the spot to go. And you go there and they're just like slaying huge whitetail deer. And so, it was kind of an adventure. We'd all go like 3-hour drives up in the mountains, and it was like a day thing. And he was tough. He's like 75 climbing these steep mountains, just like, and I'm like 10, and I'm like, wow, like he's tougher than I am. And he's like old guy. And, so, just did a lot of whitetail hunting with them. We used to put on drives, and that was a ton of fun. Mm-hmm. Deer running at you, and you're trying to shoot at them, while they're running.
Never done a deer drive, but I get it. You know what I mean?
I call it the hot seat. It's like literally like you have deer 5 feet from you running this full speed, and you're trying to hit this moving target.
Oh boy.
And, bullets are flying, and it's like, maybe or maybe not get something. But that's how I grew up hunting, was kind of putting on drives. Mm-hmm. So, to have a hunt where you're like super slow and like, oh, I can take my time to do this. It's like, this is great. This is easy. Like, I'm not, trying to shoot something that's moving.
Right.
That, is dodging trees.
It's good to have experience in both.
Absolutely. Were
you able to hunt as much as you wanted during your early years of college and starting your career? You still got out?
Picked my college was like close to where we hunted. It was like 45 minutes away. So before classes, I would be out turkey hunting or, going out and doing stuff. And then I was milking, on the weekends and coming home. And so the farmer would let me hunt. So I was, got into bow hunting. So
what year was that?
So it would be high school. So I had a friend on the football team. His family had a farm, and we were out rabbit hunting. His uncle had some dogs. And so we were just small game hunting, got a couple rabbits, and we went back to his house for lunch, and we saw this just bruiser whitetail deer going through his oats field. And, I was like, we were super excited. And he's like, well, I got a tree stand where that buck's going. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so we had lunch, and then we went out and did this big loop, got up in this tree stand, and we're sitting there, and it's like getting dark. And we're like, oh man, this is pretty much it. Well, then you hear some grunting. Oh yeah, he's close by. This thing goes 5 yards from us. He pulls his bow back, shoots, completely misses. Like, it's like a foot over. He's all excited.
Buck fever, baby.
Yeah, completely missed it. And that was the catalyst. I was in the tree stand with him, and it was awesome. So he ended up getting that buck later in rifle season, 11 point.
Oh my gosh.
Like a 170.
Damn.
And that was like, I was like, I'm getting a bow because, you got more opportunity. You have more days.
Yeah.
Our archery season's ridiculous. It's like September to, I think, February.
Yep. Say no more.
Yeah.
You can go out. I remember my first year in a tree stand, all self-taught. It was like 2002. And I could hunt our property. We lived out in the country.
Okay.
And so I set up this tree stand on this game trail. There wasn't a scraper. I just knew the deer moved on this trail. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed horns, rattling horns. And I went, and sure shit, the biggest buck I'd ever seen. And I'd killed deer already, right? But not with a bow.
Right.
Probably like a mid 150 buck, which is pretty big for Washington State, just comes rolling through at 20 yards. And I remember, I don't even remember looking through the peep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just was like shocked at how much adrenaline I had, how much buck fever took over my body, and that I didn't even remember. I don't even know what happened. I just know my arrow's in the dirt and that buck is gone. And I was able to rattle in 2 more deer, and I still couldn't keep my shit together. So my first ever DIY solo bow hunt for deer, I rattled in 3 bucks. All of them I would consider shooters.
Right.
No dinks. Missed every one of them. And that was it. That's all. That's addicted ever since to this day.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you go out gun hunting and it's like, yeah, it's fun. It's cool.
Yeah.
But nothing like archery. It's like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And, I think of the technology. It's like, I remember those old rangefinders that had the two things that you had to set up.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah. I
they
remember
were
no
like the
rangefinders.
basic. And then
Yeah.
you're guessing, you're like, oh, I think that's, and you're shooting. I'm like, oh, a little off. And I just think about like the transition of all the tech and the
Yeah.
stuff. I remember like my bows, and it's just like, and you had to hold the arrow on, keep it from falling off of the little, arrow rest thing. It's like,
I geeked
wow.
out so hard in the beginning. I remember like hunting out west and like literally gluing on an inclometer on the side of my rangefinder. And then I like got a piece of paper and figured out all my cut charts and
Nice.
wrote down like this football play on the side that I would tape to my
Awesome.
arm when I was hunting out west because of there was no inclometer built in. And technology is gone. But I'm telling you, it's still, no matter how much we advance, like there's this thing where you got to like keep your crap together and execute when you're so excited.
Yeah, I love it because it's so primitive. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with my wife's uncle. He's like 85, 86. And he used to, archery hunt elk. And, we just talk about going back to like Native Americans. It's like they had a freaking like twig that they broke off a tree and like honed it and, put turkey feathers on it and a stone. And they're slaying bison and elk, and
They're making
they're
a living.
proficient. Yeah. Like, like, and so kind of going back to the work thing, it's like when you're starving, you figure out how to do stuff real quick and make it work.
Yeah.
And it's, if you got to make a living income, like you figure out how to do it and make it happen.
You better figure it out.
So the same thing with hunting. It's like,
So tell me about today. You train from 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., mostly at a studio or a place you lease, and then some athletes you train at their homes. That business is called Science of Cardio?
Yep.
Okay. And then that's a lot of downtime too. Like, so you're off by 2. Is that when you take care of your business? Like work on the business, get your workouts in, go on the evening hunts? Like how does your day flow?
Yeah. So when I go into DC, I get up at, what time do I get up? 3:15. I leave at 4 a.m. I have a 90-mile commute. So I do that 3 days a week.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But with traffic, DC is like the worst traffic in the country right now.
Great.
So I bypass all that. Like I'm at work at like 5:15, 5:30.
Perfect.
And then people come in and do their thing.
Do you train? I'm interrupting. I apologize.
No, you're cool.
Do you train one-on-ones or variety?
Mostly one-on-ones.
Okay.
So from my experience, it's like everybody's built differently. So I've taken a couple classes, a guy by the name of Tom Purvis. He's like the NASA strength consultant.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy's freaking legit. He's in Oklahoma City. He's basically all about joint physics and how, moment arms and physics work in the joint. And that has been a game changer. And with that, he teaches cadaver classes like with his continuing ed.
Okay.
And basically he's got pictures of like 12 different femurs, and they're all different sizes. They have different rotations. You start looking at pelvises and the socket. Some of them face forward, some of them face out to the side. And basically the radiation is just like, hey, everybody's built differently. There's a reason why some people can deadlift great and why other people suck at it. And so,
we should just talk about it real quick. Like you can't teach a squat the same way to 5 different people.
No.
Like it's not going to work. Do you know your physics? Meaning like for me, I would be a really, really good deadlifter, but I don't have the long arms. If I had longer arms, I have the build for that perfect deadlift where, you know what I mean? Where it's just like these levers add up to where I have an okay deadlift, but I also don't have the best levers for squatting. You know what I mean? Like my femurs are a little longer proportionally to my torso. My torso is a little shorter than make your average person at my height. Do you have long femurs? Do you have short femurs? Mid-range? What's your torso length? Do you prefer to high bar, low bar back squat? What makes sense for you?
Yeah. Low bar back squat.
Yep.
Heels lifted.
Yep.
Like got to change that angle. I tend to externally hip rotate. I feel better doing that. And so that's the thing. It's like not everybody should be squatting the same way.
No.
And so I go through, and people are funny. I'll get like newbies, new clients, or even coaches, people mentoring. And, they're like, oh, I've had people like on, YouTube, like, oh, you're not squatting deep enough. It's like, unless you're a expert technician, like, don't tell me how to squat. Like everybody squats differently. They have different things. And in my opinion, it's like, if you're heavy loading something, your range changes. If you're doing range of motion, mobility stuff, like, yeah, you can go real low, but you don't have this huge load on you.
Yeah.
And so you're not going to beat up your joints. And so that's kind of my mantra, is like, don't beat yourself up.
Yep.
So like I've gotten into swimming. Swimming is my secret hack when I'm rucking, kind of getting ready for coming out to the Rockies. It's my midweek kind of cardio session. And so I will usually do a heavy ruck on Tuesday. And then on Saturday, I'll do my long kind of hike. And so that way I'm getting my mileage, but I'm also getting the heavy load. But Thursday, like we go swimming, we go to the pool, and it's like I'm doing cardiovascular things to help out with mitochondria and, physiological things. Holding your breath underwater is pretty good for, just getting you to be better physiologically with breathing stuff. And so the swimming just takes that joint impact out. And so it's like, don't beat yourself up. Like, I mean, you beat yourself, you go for an 8-mile hike with 50, 60 pounds on your back. Like, you feel like crap for a day or two for sure after. So I throw the swimming in as like that midweek, like, okay, I'm going to get some cardio in, but I'm not going to put a lot of stress on my joints, on my back. And so
you definitely get dividends, and you also don't wear and tear.
Yeah.
I remember introducing myself to swimming, which never grew up swimming.
Same.
And I did it only because I was deathly afraid that the CrossFit Games was going to have us swimming in the ocean.
Okay.
And I think this was 2012 when I was like, okay, we are going to the CrossFit Games. We need to swim. And then 2013, same thing. We are going to the CrossFit Games as a team, not individual. Make that very clear. We need to swim. And then in 14, I thought we were going to go back to the games again. We ended up having a girl get injured, but we swam as we led up to it. Those 3 years, I'll never trade, because it was always middle of the week as a recovery day. And we didn't do like a lot of interval type stuff in the water. It was mainly just laps.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like my technique to this day is still not that great. And I'm pretty dense. Like I sink.
Right.
But I have always figured out that the very next day after a swim workout were always some of my best training sessions. Now, you tell me why that is. Was it mental? I don't know. I just felt like I moved, I recovered, I flushed.
Yeah, blood flow.
Right?
Like, you're not wearing and tearing as much on the joint. I mean, you still have, everybody I know, dated a girl who was a college swimmer. Everybody's got shoulder injuries. I have a client, she collegiately swam. She's like, I never had any shoulder. I'm like, you're the only person I've ever met who's like swam for a career that hasn't had shoulder issues. And so again, in my opinion, if you do something once a week, you're probably not going to wreck yourself doing it.
No overuse there.
And so, but it's, it's just a different animal. Like, you can't breathe when you want to, when your face is in water. And so it's kind of like hiking up a mountain. Like, it's hard, but you can breathe. And so I think it speeds up that whole like respiration, mitochondria, holding on to oxygen longer, and but I know, like, when I start swimming in the wintertime, getting ready for like spring bear, it's like, I can do anything. Like, I'm good to go. Sauna is another thing. Like, literally just kind of add the sauna to a workout, or get in there, a couple times a week. And it's like, you don't get winded going up a hill.
And this is the East Coast flatlander who's coming out west telling you these best practices.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't get this talked about more? Like, swimming protocol once a week minimum.
Yeah.
Sauna work, in addition to all the other things.
Yep.
Guys, this is like things that absolutely worked. And there's a ton of people who listen to this that simply do not live out west.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah.
You got to get in the pool.
Yeah. Like, you get your ass handed to you.
Yeah.
When you hit the Rockies, it's like, oh crap, I got to change what I'm doing, how I'm training, this, that.
Yes.
And it's a fast learning curve. It's like, okay, got to get in shape, got to do these things. And so with our backgrounds, it's like, okay, what is the best way to do this? And so, you start going to the other end of the spectrum of like, okay, what's the hardest thing, the most efficient, best thing? And so you just kill yourself, Tabatas and like intervals and stuff. Well, then your body is like, not recovering. And then as that goes on, it just, it gets less and less performance, less power output. Like you feel like crap, you're achy, and
you
things
become susceptible to injury or that injury potential is slowly increasing.
Yep.
I like what you said about, so I got to just stop everyone who's listening and taking notes. He said he heavy rucked earlier in the week and he waited for that weekend for that LSD type ruck, lighter, long, slow distance. Complete opposites. This one's for killing stuff and taking the meat out. And this one's for every day-to-day grind. And then in the middle is swimming. We haven't talked about strength. We haven't talked about other cardio or conditioning pieces. But remember those 3 pieces. Like, this is genius.
So this is dialed in. So it took me about 4 years to figure this out.
Yeah.
And, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to heavy ruck 2 days a week. And then, like, your back's killing you.
Dumb.
It's like, oh, my gosh.
Been there, done that.
So, so I have some back stuff. This is why I was intrigued with the chiropractor. I have scoliosis. I have spondylolisthesis. I've had 4 concussions. And so I'm like, okay, this is a thing. This is a problem. For years, like decade or 2, it's like power cleaning. It's like, I pull my back, tweak my back. And then, it's like, oh, you have slight scoliosis. Oh, okay. My physics, my structure to the high rise is a little off. And so there's ways to work around it. I'm a huge fan of Stuart McGill. He's like the world's best back pain specialist. He's up in Canada, I think Toronto. And the guy, he like wrote the textbook for like physics of the spine. And he's just a genius. And we call it the Goldilocks. So I have a mentor that's up in Toronto. We call it the Goldilocks zone. It's like, if you don't do anything, you get diabetes. If you do too much, you have every joint replacement surgery. You can't move because you have so much scar tissue, you can't do anything.
Yeah.
And so the Goldilocks zone is like, do just enough to create adaptation, but not enough that you're beat up and you're injuring yourself all the time.
Yes.
And it's where I say you take kind of the science, but it becomes very artistic. And it's like, I
love it.
This person can do this 75% thing, and this person needs to be at 56.5%.
Yeah.
And so
quantify it.
I call it the chess game. It's like, we're not playing checkers. Like, especially when you hit a certain age, it's like every, your time's valuable. Like, you don't have a lot of it. Like, everything you do is a chess game. It's like, I have to do this 20-minute Tabata because I only have time to do that today. I'm going to go do this thing because I got to haul out a crap load of meat and I got to get my body ready for that. And it ain't happening in a week.
No.
And that, I think, just knowing that science of like, hey, it's going to take you 6 to 16 weeks to get your body used to walking, hiking, running, rucking, whatever you're doing. But it's a process, and you can't cheat physiology or science. Right?
There's not a hack there. Okay, that's good. So guys listening, we're basically going back and forth, and what I'm seeing a potential for this podcast is like, okay, let's talk about the ultimate template to get ready out west. You just hit on the duration. Say it again.
The
6 to 16 weeks.
Oh yeah.
6 minimum.
Yep.
So that doesn't mean August 1st, folks.
Yeah.
If you do the math, that's if you're going minimal route, like mid-July,
2 months.
Early July, still a little late to the party. So June 1st, no later.
Yeah.
Would be ideal. Especially, it's like a sliding scale. Like the older you get, the more time you need for adaptation, and the younger you are, obviously. But these are just good rules to follow. So let's work on this template right now. We've mentioned the 2-day-a-week ruck, completely opposite stimuluses. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So like the Tuesday ruck, it doesn't have to be a Tuesday. It's just, that's the day that works out for me. Basically I just add 5 pounds every week.
Progressive overload.
For that 16-week period.
Where did you start at the beginning?
So usually if I'm off and haven't trained, I'll put like 20, 25 pounds on, something super light. I work up to 100 pounds, which
by the end, you're at a hundo on your heavy.
Yes. So I will reverse engineer it. I'll say, okay, week 16, I want to be at 100, 95, 90, 85. And so that sets your pace.
This is your meso and your micro, and you're looking big and small.
Bam, 15, 16 weeks.
That's awesome. And on the lighter ones.
Yep. The lighter ones.
Is it a duration that you add?
So yeah, I do mileage. And
mileage.
So, yep.
What do you end at? Just out of curiosity towards the end.
So last season, I think I did 9 miles with 50 pounds ish.
Yeah.
And it's like you're sore for 3 days, like you're banged
And you're
up.
sweating, your backpack's
And
soaked.
so what I do, and this is kind of up for opinion, but I usually do kind of a deload week before I go hunting.
Sure.
Because it's like, well, if you're doing 9 miles, 50 pounds and 100-pound ruck.
I think you absolutely should deload if you're especially coming out west.
So the other thing with rucking is like the military's got some pretty good research studies.
Yeah.
Like 30% is where your back starts to fall. Sorry, 30% of your body weight.
Sure.
And so, I'm 100 pounds is 50% of my body weight, but it's that 15, 14, 13 weeks that you build up to it. And so there's no way I can maintain that 50% of my body weight forever. But it's like, hey, if you got to carry 130 pounds out of elk on your back, you need to have a little bit of tolerance. You can't be like, oh, well, I was carrying 50 pounds and I got my
I'll
back.
just rise to this level I've never been at.
And I'm going to throw 3 times that on your body on unstable surfaces, climbing up and down, crazy steep terrain, slippery,
dude, I was
snowing.
so worried this year with having a ACL reconstructive surgery. Like that was the most concerning was pack out versus not day in and day out hunt grind. But the first pack out, I tried both rears on the sides of my new, I have this initial Ascent 5K. These guys showed me that I could do it. I'm like, I'm going to try it.
I just got the 8K yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Which one? The 8?
8.
Oh, dude.
It's sick.
I've tried
I'm
all
excited.
the backpacks out there. This is the best for carrying large loads. Double rears. I weigh 145, not right now, but that's a time. And I can't believe how skinny I get elk hunting. But I'm moving these large loads up the mountain and I'm like, knee feels good. Now, obviously I was going uphill, not downhill. There's a difference.
Sure.
But fast forward a few weeks later, I'm in Montana and I don't have help. This is a solo pack out on an elk. And I got to go downhill quite a ways to hit a trail. And then it's pretty gradual, but it's mostly downhill. It's about, I don't know, just 2 miles one way. And I was like, okay, now we're going to really test the knee. Like, can you do double rears going downhill?
Yeah.
Turns out I can. And that was like the biggest concern for me was, I want to be in shape so I can get an elk killed. I get it. But I think people overlook the pack out, especially if you're hunting solo.
Yeah.
There is no SOS. Like, I have no friends that are going to drop what they're doing and drive 8 hours to Montana backcountry, hike in and help me. And even if they did, like, I just feel like I should be able to take care of it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So my buddy, he went out Montana. Him and his dad's like almost 80.
Okay.
Shoots a freaking huge 6x6. They're in a bowl. His dad pretty much can't help at all.
Yeah.
And he's like literally carrying meat and doing, laps back and forth.
The shuttle.
And he's like, dude, I had the worst cramps. I was like, yeah, you're just like done, you're dehydrated, overdone. And I razzed him because I was like, dude, I told you I'd come and help you out. And his dad's like, oh, well, they just want to do a father-son. Like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to get a guide next time. He's like, I'm never doing this solo ever again. I'm like, I would have come and help you out.
You look big, strong, and sturdy. I'd have you help me pack out all day, every day. The first pack out that night, so in Montana, I shot this bull with a little bit of daylight left, saw the lighted knock, smoke him. So, like, I didn't give him a lot of time. Like,
right.
I didn't see him go down, but I was like, God, that looked absolutely perfect. So I went over, and then my arrow backed it up. I was like, all right. So I did find him pretty quick. Solo breaking down a bull by yourself, done it many times. It just takes a little longer.
Right.
Got it all packed out, and then I was like, okay, I got all my hunting gear. I can't hike all the way back out to my machine and leave all the meat. Like, I got to get something out with me. And then I convinced myself, I was like, I'm going to take a really shitty load out. It's already like midnight.
Right.
I can go slow, but I'll be so thankful tomorrow morning when I got it. So I took a rear, all the loose meat, which neck, backstrap, tender, rear, bone out, plus all my hunting gear from the day.
Sure.
I don't know how much you weigh, guys. I didn't weigh it. Sorry. I'm not going to throw a number out there, but we're over 100 pounds, way over 100 pounds.
For sure.
Bro, I knew within 20 yards of leaving the elk that I was like, I have trekkers in each hand and I'm moving, I'm waddling,
Right.
Joints are hurting, shoulders, everything, but I'm going. And I ended up probably stopping 5 times over the course of like 3 miles. And just sitting down and getting the meat off my shoulders, not taking the pack off, but just 5 breaks. And I freaking could not get back to that machine. I had a UTV at the trailhead. Finally get there, take it all off, hang it, throw out a canvas cutter, just jumped in a sleeping bag, covered in blood, didn't care, and just slept hard. The next morning, and the reason why I'm sharing this is all the other trips were easy because of that shitty one.
Sure.
And I could not remember the pain. It was a distant memory that just 12 hours later, I can't even remember how painful it was, although during was so miserable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's, and you know, it's the whole thing is just like prepping, like, okay, what does it feel like to have 100 pounds on your back?
Yeah.
Like, okay, this sucks. Like, so I usually do 2 miles for my heavy loads, for my training stuff. And then the distance, like I'll go up in the mountains. One thing I wanted to mention was the, kind of the prep. Like I'll go on to like Gaia or Onyx and, you know, do your routes for where you think you're going to go.
Yeah.
I'll use that intel to design my programs. So
genius.
Yeah. So like, you know, whatever. Okay. We got 3 miles and we're putting camp up 5 miles in, but there's an 1800 vertical that we want to glass. And so I will try to set my like training up around that where it's like, okay, well, let's go. I'm going to hike 3 miles and then I'm going to climb 1,000 feet. So East Coast sucks because it's just a lot of laps. So we go over to West Virginia. We have about 1,000 vertical.
That's good.
And so I just, you know, I start, okay, I'm going to do 3 of these, you know, building up over the weeks and doing kind of up and downs. And it gets old.
So sneaking a peek at where you're going to be, topography, all that stuff makes sense. And then, so for those listening, we've covered a heavy ruck earlier in the week.
Right.
And it's relative. The word heavy is relative to what you're at, what you're doing, and where you start, and how old you are, and how much time you give.
Micro progress it.
And then on the back end of the week is that more recovery, long, slow distance, time under tension, you know, longer piece. And then in the middle is that sweet, overlooked, I think it's the golden nugget of the pod.
Yep.
Get your ass in the pool and do some laps. Your body will recover. That is the secret sauce. And then it's up to you to fill in the blanks. And I want to hear your thoughts on filling in those blanks.
So strength training, I usually lift heavy when I'm hunt training. I usually lift heavy on Monday. Then I kind of do isometric strength Tuesday as a recovery.
Sure.
I'll get into that a little bit. Then I'll do my heavy load in the evening of rucking. Wednesdays usually just isometrics, like totally chill. Like I'm doing stuff, mobility stuff, but I'm not like super focused. Then Thursdays, usually the swimming cardio day. Sometimes I'll lift Thursday or Friday, hypertrophy, just general, like, you know, let's do the beach bod, keep stuff moving, doing things. And then Saturdays, like, okay, I'm going to spend hours hiking because I wrote this in my notes. It's like, you know, so many people like, oh, well, I go to the gym for an hour and a half. And it's like, well, when you're hunting for like 12 or 16 hours. Like you can't train for that. Like there ain't enough time in the day unless you're in the gym for 12 hours. Like, and so there's this like just funny nuance of like, oh, well, I worked out an hour and a half and like I'm in shape and I'm ready to go. Like, yeah, but you're going to go do something for 14 hours and nonstop. And, you know, then at hour 14, now you got to carry out 130 pounds on your back. Yeah. And you're going to get 6 hours of sleep. And then you got to go back and get another 130 pounds and do it again the next day. And like, you can't prep for that to a certain degree.
That makes sense. Well, this is all kind of cool to talk about from somebody living in the East Coast, coming out to the West Side, hitting the Rockies. I take it for granted, although believe it or not, Ryan, you're sitting at only about 2,100 feet right here. I don't live like in Denver or Salt Lake, 4,000 to 5,000 feet minimum. Everywhere I go, I hunt elk no less than 8,000 feet. That is low. This year I spent a lot of time at 11,000 feet. Even my camp in New Mexico was 11,000 feet. Like, so typically on an average year, this year being the exception, I will experience an altitude related headache for 1 to 3 days that is so dull, tonic, and annoying, but it's not catastrophic where I feel like I got to drop in elevation.
Is that when you start out?
Always.
Yeah.
First 1 to 3 days, whether the season's open or not.
Yep.
However, I think this year I spent so much time in the summer at elevation, recreating, hiking, shooting Total Archery Challenge, taking the family camping, backpacking. We did backpack trips, putting trail cameras out. That I think that led to me never having to wait for that adaptation. It was already occurred. I want you to explain from an exercise physiology standpoint or just your own narrative. I've had this conversation with my wife, and I told her this year I was in the best shape I've ever been for elk hunting, which is hard to say because I just had a knee surgery.
Right.
But I never felt like I had to stop for oxygen at any point in time. I never felt like my legs were burning. I need to stop and rest. I hunted literally 32 days nonstop.
Nice.
It sounds cool. It actually sucks.
Right.
32 days unbroken, meaning like literally no sleep-ins, like everyday hunt. It's like everyday hunt as hard as I can.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, reverse engineer, like you just said, like, okay, what did I do differently this year? And I think I realized it while you said this key word. You said Goldilocks. I figured out, and I told my wife this, I figured out in 2025 that there's a certain amount of days a week that I can train. And there's a threshold where if I go up to this certain level of stress, I get an adaptation and I don't overtrain and I'm not miserable for the next 2 or 3 days and I don't keep my injury potential increased. Drum roll, please. 30 to 40 minutes. My sessions are now condensed down to 30 to 40-minute sessions. And I am training 6 days a week.
Yep.
Versus I used to train 4 to 5, minimum 1 hour, and pretty much try to freaking kill myself every time I stepped in the gym.
So that was another thing I'll do 2 months of that 3-day cardio kind of every other day, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. When I get into my 3rd or 4th week, I'll bump it up. Okay, I'm going to walk without any weight. The next day, I'm going to put a ruck on. And so I'll start doing kind of 4 or 5 hikes in a week to get, again, it's what if your body is not used to doing 2 days back to back, you got a rude awakening coming to you when,
About day 3.
Yeah. And so you got to do things to your body. You got to challenge them, but respect it. And it's that work rest kind of synergy, the yin and the yang. It's like, yeah, you should get after it and be super focused and diligent about working hard, but you should rest very, very hard and thoughtfully about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, we used to do 2 days with the professional athletes. It was like 2 real hard days back to back and then a day of recovery. And so I think the human body can kind of deal with 2 really awful, crappy days. But after that kind of second day, like you got to back off or throttle back a little bit. That your body just needs to recover. So that's kind of what I do long-term, kind of macro. It's like, okay, first 2 months, every other day. And then once I get like a month out, it's like, I'm going to 4 kind of hiking sessions. And it doesn't have to be hard. It's like, okay, well, I'm just going to go hike 3 miles, on terrain, and then I'm going to ruck the next day. And so that has worked out good for me. But going back to your kind of cardiovascular thing, it is almost impossible to go from sea level to high altitude and be in shape for it. Like the oxygen is different. And so cellularly, like you can't switch it. So that was asking, because usually it takes about 24, 48 hours for your cells to start changing. And so usually, like when I was in Colorado, like I'll get the oxygen spray stuff. I can't think of it, like, in the can.
Yeah.
And so that's an option, but you can't do that when you're at 12,000 feet and the town's 2 hours back. Like you got to think ahead and get that stuff and take it with you.
Or work your way up the mountain, like get a few days early.
Yes.
And maybe even hunt for a few hours in the morning.
Yep.
Get that headache and get your ass back down to a lower base camp.
I always struggle going up to Montana because it's like literally get off the plane, drive 8 hours, and then like we're on the trail the next day. And, it's
rough.
Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. Like, and so what are you going to do? Hopefully muscular and nervous system wise, your body's conditioned to deal with that. And then you kind of have to deal with the lack of oxygen, but there's no real way around it. Like Olympics and professionals, like they'll go acclimatize.
Yeah.
The military, like I have a bunch of military friends, like they would go to the desert for 2 weeks to get used to being hot as crap.
No doubt.
before they go to the sandbox. And
Where's
it's
all the
130.
Olympic training centers?
Yes.
At altitude.
Denver. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So you've basically laid out a beautiful blueprint for those that are interested in coming out west, which a lot of them are, and more are. It's becoming a reality,
Yep.
which I think is awesome. But what I want to maybe finalize this podcast on is like everything Ryan has told you sounds good, but if you are walking around with a unwanted 20-pound weight vest, that's like you're overweight 20 pounds of fat, useless fat, and you got to like ruck additionally, like, oh, I'm doing a heavy ruck today, so I'm going to put a heavy ruck on. Some of you guys are already carrying a ruck because of poor nutrition decisions and lack of consistency. And this is your honest friend talking, so I'm trying to be delicate. But what I'm trying to say, Ryan, is like you're really in shape, right? You're a trained athlete since middle school. What about the guys that are like aging? And the reality is they are overweight as it is.
Yep.
They might need to turn down some things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't want to leave them out.
Everything's customized. It's, if your body hurts at a half a mile, like just do a little bit less than that. I have a lady who is a triathlete and she's got horrible plantar fasciitis. And we've literally had to dial back to where it's like, okay, you can walk 3 blocks today. And I want you to take off 4 days before you walk 3 blocks. And I want you to walk whatever you can without pain and I want you to do that for a month. So we know exactly where your pain threshold is.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to stay out of pain land and then we're going to move up. But if you're conditioned, you might be able to progress each week. You add 5 pounds to your ruck. If you're deconditioned, it might be a month before you add 5 pounds. And so everything just becomes listen to your body.
Mm-hmm.
Like your body will tell you if you have back pain, if you're having sciatica or issues, joint stuff, like your body's telling you, I don't like this, please adjust. And so you have to respect that. It's not the blueprint. It's the gray area or the Goldilocks. Like, well, I don't, what you do for strength might be a little bit different than what I do for strength.
Sure.
And that's okay. Another thing I wanted to do is, prehab. It's like there are exercises that will reset your nervous system that will stop that pain signaling. So, like shoulder, like archery stuff. I do a ton of the iron neck to strengthen my traps. And that has been a game changer. I do a gazillion isometric shoulder, just pushing real lightly. So scientifically, we've found that if you do something really low intensity for less than 10 seconds, you don't have any soreness or negative kind of pain signaling. When you start doing things for longer than 10 seconds or higher intensity, your body gives you the finger, says, I can't do this. I don't like this. There's a lot of pain. So as long as you can stay at a pain when you're progressing things, you are good to go. And so it gets hard because when you're training, like I was doing a bunch of Tabata stuff and I started getting elbow tendonitis and I'm like, I know what's causing it. But most people don't know. They're just like, hey, I've been doing this thing. And 6 months later, like my back's bugging me, my shoulder's bugging me, my elbow. And it's like, there's something that you're doing that is influencing that. And you got to think through it. And I call it tools in the toolbox. If you have a very large toolbox, I have a barn as a toolbox. If you have options, you can work around things. If all you have is a screwdriver, like everything can only be fixed, or a hammer, the analogy. But if you only have 1 tool or 2 tools, like you're limited. If you have a gazillion tools, options, plyometrics, eccentrics, body weight stuff. I've been horsing around a lot with like speed velocity. So, and it's things you don't think about. Like when you trip on that log or rock, when you have 100 pounds on your back, you have to react. And who's in the gym, I'm going to put 150 pounds on my back and I'm going to purposely trip on this thing and try to catch myself. Nobody's doing that.
Correct.
It's like, it's challenging, but if your nervous system is used to that, even falling and rolling. I remember my grandfather, like when we were hunting, we were on these steep slopes and he would just fall and roll. And, as a little kid, 10 years old, you're like laughing, like, oh, he fell. And he's like, it's natural. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And so if
knowing how to decelerate,
if you can deal with that, you're good to go. But if you shatter, you tear your ACL or your ligament, your ankle, like that's game over. Like, you got problems. So if you can stay out of injury, That's like a gold nugget. Like if you have to back off for a week so that back pain goes away, no problem. As long as you still get to go and play and go hunting,
Yeah.
you're good. But it's annoying me. And then you keep pushing it, and then it's annoying me a little bit more, and you keep pushing it. Well, at some point, your body's going to tell you, no, I'm not doing this. And so if you keep kind of fussing through that, pushing through it, stuff breaks. And, again, respecting, listening to your body on what's going on with it. So
I like that. I do think the guys listening that, are because I've gotten enough emails over the, years where I know that there's athletes out there that are in need of 50 pounds off their body, 100, whatever. You're not qualified to go on a heavy day ruck. You don't need to do a heavy day ruck when you're carrying around that much extra weight.
Well,
use your body weight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think a lot of it is like, if your body can handle 100 extra pounds plus the ruck, if it can handle it, go for it. No problem. But
the
how do
point
you know
I guess
what
I'm
that
trying to
is?
make is like, there's not enough rucks in the world for you to get into shape if you're not first addressing
Yes.
what's the causation.
Yep.
What is whatever you want to boil it down to is I say this delicately, you're probably eating like an asshole, quite honestly.
Right.
And you have been for some time. You can be eating okay and not being very active, but realistically you're not active and the nutrition decisions are poor. So give yourself some grace, make some small steps, make some adjustments to your nutrition. We didn't even talk about nutrition. We're not going to, that's a whole podcast in itself. But like if you're severely, not even severely, you're packing around some pounds that are unwanted, you're going to have to look at nutrition. You can't out-train a bad diet.
Right.
I wish you could.
Right.
Trust me, I wish I could.
Yep.
I can't out-train a bad diet.
I've been talking with kind of my older clientels. It's like everything comes down to muscle and nervous system signaling, neuromuscular. And so if you got a ton of muscle, you have this huge tank for glycogen and glucose. And so, the people that are really, really big and muscular, they can eat a lot more because they have a huge storage tank to put all that energy.
Yeah.
If you have no muscle mass, like you don't have a tank for it. Like it's got to do something with it, stores it as fat. And so you can use that, build muscle. That's
build some muscle.
Just freaking put
bolster
muscle.
that metabolism.
Do as much muscle building as you possibly can and stay in your lane, listen to your body. And,
what's your website name? And like, do you have a social media thing? Like where you talk about some hunting stuff?
Yeah. So, scienceofcardio.com is the website. And then I have on Instagram, it's scienceofcardio.huntfit.
Ooh.
So that's all the hunting stuff.
We're going to leave a link to that one. That's
Yep.
the one you guys should follow.
Yeah.
And this is just a guy who literally lives in the DC area, we'll say, and comes out west and gets it done and understands. And we met 20 years ago
right.
and haven't seen each other in 20 years.
Right.
What a treat, man.
Yeah. It's awesome.
I can't believe it. And I feel like we just pick up right where we left off. You made some banger points on this pod. This will be a good one. I think we'll call it like the blueprint for hunting out west or getting in shape. I'll have Riley think of the name, but it'll be cool. We're going to go get a workout in, and I have to go do not so much fun stuff after that, but this will be fun. This will be the highlight of my day is the next hour. We're going to go work out. You brought some toys with you that are like, So
I have a dynamometer, which is a pressure sensor. So pushing, pulling, it tells you how much load you push or pull.
Cool.
So dynamometer. It also has a goniometer, it measures degrees of range of motion.
Okay.
So if you have a shoulder that's tight, it'll show up on that. And then the other thing is velocity-based training. It's called the K power. So it tells you how fast you move, either linear sprinting or vertical. So like velocity-based training. So you can put it onto a barbell,
like bar path,
and it'll tell you how fast the bar is going up or down.
Oh, we're doing something with that today.
Most people don't train in that space.
That'll be cool to see.
Yeah, so it's really, really fun. I geek out. I love the force plates and all the tech that's coming out. But there's this kind of learning curve. It's like, I can't go to anybody that knows information about it. So I'm like, I'm on YouTube trying to learn
Wild, Wild
stuff.
West, man.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it.
No, I think that's cool. Well, guys, this is my friend Ryan. We just had a reunion of 20 years here. Thanks for listening. Separations in the Preparation. Check the show notes for access to his Instagram and website, and get ready, because I'd rather you stay in elk shape than get in or out of elk shape repeatedly. We just built you a good blueprint for 2026. Get going. We'll catch you on the next one.